welcome to my video. Today we are going to talk about the difference between iron-on vinyl and infusible ink. So infusible ink is a new product by Cricut that is ink on a transfer sheet that when applied with a lot of heat, the ink infuses into whatever it's going to, like a shirt or a tote bag or like a coaster. The heat makes the ink like go in. So iron-on vinyl, the product is, the vinyl is something that is glued and it sits right on top of the item, when the infusible ink goes down into the item. Like, I think of it as if it's like staining. Like, this is ink that goes in and it stains the item. Some of the differences are iron-on vinyl can be applied to lots of different fabrics and fabric types. Infusible ink can only be applied to polyester type products. There are special blanks that Cricut has tested and they sell that works with the infusible ink. So I have, this is a t-shirt I bought at Walmart. It is 90% cotton, 10% polyester, that I'm going to do the iron-on vinyl on this t-shirt. And then this is a blank. This is a white t-shirt from Cricut. It's 100% polyester that we're going to do the same exact design on this t-shirt. They're both V-neck, and we're going to cut out the same design on both of these products. So let's get started. One thing that's very important to remember when we're using infusible ink is that you cannot have wet hands, and it cannot be near anything wet. Though if there is any liquid, it will ruin your the ink on the transfer sheet. So see how it's in a box, but it's also in plastic. That's really important, because you don't want it to get wet, because it will ruin it and you won't be able to use it. So I'm opening this up, and this comes in a roll just like the iron-on vinyl. You can see, so there's 2 ink transfer sheets in here, and there's also some paper that you use to cover it when it's being heated. So we're going to use this in a little bit, and it's really interesting, the infusible ink, these transfer sheets, because this is black. Like, if you look at the box, this says like this is the color it's going to be, so it's going to be black, and this looks gray or like a brownish gray color, but the color comes through brighter when it's heated and transferred. So don't worry about this not being super bright. So I'm going to wrap this back up before we cut it, and I'm going to open up the iron-on vinyl. It's with iron-on vinyl, you can make your project larger than the size of your iron or the size of your easy press, and you just move it and heat it in different sections. With the infusible ink, you cannot heat it more than once. You can only heat it once. So you don't want something larger than your easy press, or I think they don't recommend using an iron, because an iron cannot get hot enough to do the infusible ink. They only recommend doing an easy press 2. And that's also important, because the easy press 1, the original easy press, cannot get hot enough. It doesn't get up to 400 degrees to heat. The infusible ink needs to go up to 400 degrees. The original Easy Press cannot go up to 400 degrees, so you cannot use it with infusible ink, but the Easy Press 2 does have that ability and that function to go up to the heat, and you can get the really large. This is the largest Easy Press 2, and it's large enough for my design. So let's first put on the iron-on vinyl onto my mat. And I like to do it as one big sheet because I just cut off the excess. So this one is different because you don't do it right side down like we do with iron-on vinyl. You're going to do the ink side up. Okay, so we're going to get started with the iron-on vinyl. I have mirror turned on, and I have this shiny side down, and I'm going to start cutting. That's going to start cutting the project. One is done, and now I'm going to get this one cut out, but I have to go back into my settings, and then I need to change it to Infusible ink. So my mirror is turned on again, but the material is ink side up. And I'm going to get this one cut out. And while that's cutting, I'm going to weed my iron-on vinyl. So I'm weeding the iron-on vinyl still. And as you can see, it's a little tricky. It's not tricky, it's not hard to pull off, but it's very stuck on these transfer sheets. On the backing. The iron-on vinyl is pretty stuck on here. So this one's done. You can see I weeded it, but that's what it looks like from the front. I'm going to peel this off. This really does sound more like paper than the vinyl sounds like the plastic backing, and this sounds like. I've actually done real sublimation, and I think this is a version that's more accessible to crafters, because real sublimation you have to have a specific paper. It doesn't feel like this, and you have to have a giant heat press that's, you know, big and really hot. So it's really nice that Cricut has come out with a product to do sublimation, but it's more accessible to crafters with, you know, a cutting machine and an easy press. So this is not so hard to pull off. I just want to make sure that I'm not lifting any of the cup parts. If you look at the difference, this looks very black and this looks kind of like a brownish gray. But so now let's get them ironed on. So we're going to do the iron on vinyl first, just because when you heat up an easy press, it heats up really fast to the right temperature, but I don't want to have to wait for the temperature to go back down to do the infusible ink. So I'm going to be carefully put this over here because I don't want it to get wet or anything to touch it. And I'm going to put my shirt right on here. So this is the largest easy press mat. And I'm using the largest easy press. The temperature is 315 and I'm going to put in 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm heating up the area I'm using, just kind of warming it up for about 5 seconds, and then I place my iron on vinyl. And I'm watching my sides. I'm going to put it right here and flatten that really good. And I have this sheet to protect my easy press. So I put this on, and now I'm going to heat it up for 30 seconds. So the easy press 2, the large one, is pretty heavy, so I don't have to add a ton of pressure, but because it does so much pressure by itself. So I'm going to heat this for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the back for 15 seconds. So I put it back. Ooh, that is hot. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the back. And I do it for 15 seconds. I didn't change my time. I'm just watching it, and when it gets to 15 seconds, pick it up. Check the edges now. So that looks good, but I'm going to work on I'm going to get this one ready. The infusible ink one, I'm going to get it ready before I peel that off. So I'm putting my t-shirt on, and this is the Cricut Blank. You have to use the Cricut Blank with the infusible ink. And then I change my temperature to 400. And my time I changed to 40 seconds. So that's going to start heating up, and I'm going to peel this off. So this is done, and we will talk about the differences at the end. So we're just waiting for the heat on that. Let's get this ready. So what you need to do with this Where's my extra thing? So here's my infusible ink stuck to my roller. So I'm going to use this folder to put inside. You want to put something inside you when it's so lightweight, because you don't want the ink to accidentally transfer all the way through to the back. So I put that there, and then you got to use a lint roller, because if there's any lint that can come off, then the lint, after the ink is infused, that little piece of lint will fall off, and then you'll lose a part of your design. So it's all ink rolled. That's great. This is ready. And then, let's see, where did my paper? Here's my paper. So the infusible ink comes with a paper that you use to cover it when you heat it up. So first, you put your paper inside, you lint roll it, and you put your paper on the outside and warm it up for 15 seconds. Okay, and then I'm going to move my paper for a little bit, and I'm going to place my design. So let's see, I want it to be centered. Ooh, it's really hot. And see, my paper isn't all the way down, so I'm going to move that down so it gets, I'm looking around my design. So this is placed. I put the paper back on, and then I heat it for 40 seconds. So this one you have to be really careful to not shift anything when you lift it, because it could move your design. Slowly remove the paper, so you don't want to move it at all. And this one you have to do a cold peel, so I'm just going to sit and wait for this to cool down. So this is pretty much cool. I'm going to take the folder out that I had to help it cool, and now I'm going to peel this off, and I'm supposed to do it really slow. So I found that some of my pieces are really tiny, they're not sticking to this sticky plastic, so I might just have to go through and peel some of the pieces off just by hand. So as you can see, this has no ink left. This is just paper, and the ink has come off. There's nothing left anymore, and the ink is in here. So if you can see the difference, This, I can feel something on the fabric. This feels like fabric, and this feels like a vinyl. This, if I were to close my eyes, I can't feel the difference between this and this. It all feels like fabric together. And this black is very black. It's very dark and thick and strong. I mean, this black is very dark and thick and strong. It's a matte, and this is a matte black. But this is, it's like stained the fabric. That's the best explanation. And when you stretch it, there's a little bit, if you can see, there's a little bit of the color separation because of, this is like a rib knit. Oh, this is like a jersey. The jersey just stretches. That's just how knit is. But it's still pretty dark when you stretch it. This one I can't really stretch because I didn't use the stretchy kind. This is just the everyday, so it doesn't actually stretch. But it works just fine. It is pretty crazy seeing this inked on and seeing the same design in vinyl because they really come across different. This would wear differently than this. The amazing thing about the Infusible ink is it doesn't crack or peel or get stuck to each other like when it's folded up and it gets stuck. It doesn't come off, it doesn't peel off in the dryer. It's really in the fabric. If you can see the back, you can see it's kind of come through to the back. So it really makes it's kind of a game changer when this isn't going to come off like vinyl does. But you can only use Infusible ink with the Cricut blanks because it has to have polyester. You can't use it with cotton. It just doesn't work the same. There's some sort of reaction with the polyester, and that's why it works. But these are two really fun t-shirts that I'm going to enjoy wearing. And ask me any questions you have about iron-on vinyl or the Infusible ink. I'm happy to answer. I have another video about the Easy Press, the original Easy Press and the Easy Press 2, so you can go watch that to learn more about the Easy Press. And I talk about in that video how the Easy Press 2 would be ready for updates and new products, and the Infusible ink is one of the products that I didn't know was coming out, but they built the Easy Press so that you could do the Infusible ink with the Easy Press 2, which is really great that you can do that from home. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.